Good afternoon, council members. Thank you for taking the time to hear from me today. My name is Brendan Maynard. I serve as a firefighter here in our jurisdiction. I'm here to talk about something that's absolutely essential to public safety, but often doesn't get enough attention until something goes wrong: fire prevention. Now, in our line of work, we always say it's better to prevent a fire than to fight one. And in our community, we focus on what we call the 3 E's of fire prevention: education, enforcement, and engineering. Let's start with education. This is all about getting out into the community, schools, businesses, senior centers, etc. Making sure people know how to prevent fires and respond if one starts, whether it's teaching kids to stop, drop, and roll, or helping to build managers' understanding of evacuation procedures. This outreach saves lives. Then there's the enforcement aspect. Here in our city, we follow the International Fire Code, which our local fire authority has adopted, and it's enforced through inspections, permitting, and sometimes citations. We do routine walkthroughs of buildings, especially high-risk occupancies like apartment complexes, restaurants, and schools, and we find violations like blocked fire exits, expired extinguishers, faulty alarms. We give the property owner a time frame to fix the issue, and we follow up to make sure it's done. The third E is engineering, and this is where fire safety is literally built into the structure. We're talking about fire alarms, sprinkler systems, fire-rated doors and walls, all of it designed to slow fire spread and help people get out safely. Our department is involved in plan reviews before a building goes up. That gives us a chance to look at fire exits, accesses, fire-resistant materials, and make sure the design supports safety from day one. New versus existing buildings. When it comes to new construction, the rules are pretty straightforward. You have to meet current code before permits are approved or a certificate of occupancy is issued. We work closely with the building department to review every plan. Existing buildings can be a little more complicated. Many older structures are built to codes that do not meet today's standards. They're allowed to remain as is in some areas, but any major renovation or change in use, that triggers a requirement to bring the building up to current code. For these structures, we rely on regular fire inspections to identify hazards and recommend improvements. Fire resistance and testing. Now, a big part of our job is knowing how long building materials can resist fire. That's where national organizations like the Underwriters Laboratories, ASTM, NFPA come into play. These groups develop and run standardized tests that determine a material's fire rating. We often refer to tests like the ASTM E119, which measures how long walls, floors, and other structural components can withstand heat and flames. NFPA 252, for example, it applies to fire doors, and NFPA 257, which is used for window assemblies. That fire rating, 30 minutes to an hour to even 2 hours, tells us a lot when we're inspecting a building. If a fire-rated wall has been cut open for plumbing and not properly sealed, that can mean the difference between a small room fire and a multi-story blaze. So those tests and ratings directly impact how we evaluate safety during inspections. Now moving on to unsafe structures and risks in our area, in our jurisdiction. We've seen our share of unsafe structures. The warning signs usually show up the same old ways: old electrical systems, blocked exits, missing smoke detectors, deteriorating stairwells, things that don't just break code, but actively put people at risk. The type of construction we worry about most here is wood, frame buildings. They're common in residential developments and multifamily housing. The problem is, once a fire starts in one of these, it can move fast, especially if fire stops and barriers weren't installed properly. A fire in a kitchen can turn into a fully involved attic fire in under 5 minutes if those systems ever fail. Now, plans, review, and structural control. So how can we get ahead of that? It goes back to planning reviews, and structural controls. If we catch problems early, before the structure is even built, we can make changes that can keep people safer down the road. Maybe that's requiring additional fire-rated assemblies. Maybe it's rerouting utilities so they don't penetrate firewalls. Or maybe it's as simple as making sure there's enough access for our trucks in the event of an emergency. It's not about making things harder for the builders or the owners. It's about creating structures that stand up to fire and give people the time they need to escape. So in closing, I want to thank you for your time and for your continued support. Fire prevention isn't just a fire department's job, it's a community's responsibility. But with strong codes, effective inspections, and smart design, we can make our city safer for everyone. Now, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you again for your time.